Welcome to Being Extra, guys. My name is Jorge Gonzalez. Once again, I'm joined by Kevin Montgomery. Yes, we are in my car right now. I know it looks weird, but
we just got out of Tenet.
yeah,
Just saw Tenet.
we just saw Tenet, and we want to give you guys our initial thoughts on Tenet. Crazy movie, just some crazy shit that I'm gonna have to watch a couple more times to comprehend.
Yeah, it's gonna take a couple of watches, a couple of viewings. Do you want to just get right into the thoughts?
Yes, let's get right into the thoughts. Before we get into the thoughts, I just want to get into the synopsis, because the synopsis doesn't give anything away. So, the synopsis says, a secret agent embarks on a dangerous time-bending mission to prevent the start of World War III. That doesn't give shit away.
That's probably the most vague. It's a spy movie. God, I can't get it over. I can't get into the generalities of it without getting into specifics, and that's just even skimming the surface without getting into spoiler territory. Let's see here.
Well, okay, I'm just gonna get into some initial thoughts, because my heart's still pounding. I'm still going. The fucking action scenes and the gun, the shooting scenes were fucking crazy. I don't know how he shot it. I have no fucking idea how he shot people going forward and people going backwards.
It's one of the biggest, some of the bigger set pieces, like earlier in the movie, and then like the third half. It's really massive, and I wonder how the fuck he shot that all in, because Nolan likes to do everything as much as possible in camera, without relying on digital effects. So I'm curious to see what all they did to do the like how much blocking they had to do to make it look like it's going forward but still going backward. It's almost like that. Who did that music? It wasn't Coldplay who did the music video that they played it the entirely backwards.
Yes.
But then played it back forwards. They had to learn They had to learn the song backward, like that shit. Or like the music video for Steve Vai's "In My Dreams with You" with Devin Townsend. That's a really deep reference. If you're a music buff, then you'll know.
Yeah, Kevin made a good point. Okay, so Christopher Nolan, for the people that don't know, and then I know there's people that do know, he loves practical effects, as little CGI as he can, and he shoots on film, literal film, not digital film. He shoots on film. He's part of a club of directors that shoot on film, and also in that club is Quentin Tarantino as well. There's a couple more directors, I'm not sure, that are in it, but it's like a club of directors that only shoot on film. He's one of them. So even just, let's say he shot people going forwards and put it backwards, and then the people going forwards. I don't know how he did it. I'm really curious to see that, but I'm just going to say this. It was confusing at times to keep up with the action, but it was amazing to see. I thought it was really cool.
It wasn't necessarily, the action wasn't necessarily like disorienting so much as like your eyes are trying to process what's going forward and what's going backward. There are some cool things that makes this movie worth watching multiple times to try to catch some shit. But should we get into the technical details of the movie? Not like story-wise, but just like technical.
Yeah, we can get into some technical details for sure.
So,
well, okay, guys. I just want to say this. This was announced that the Dune trailer was going to show at this movie. So let's just talk a little bit about that before we get into the movie, because
the instant I saw the trailer, I knew it was Dune just because I saw Timothy Chalamet, and then as soon as it announced Denis Villeneuve, I'm like, oh shit, it's Dune, and sure enough, you see little dunes, and it's
yeah.
I'm mad jealous of all the fucking actors that get to be in that, because it looks fucking amazing, and I want to see the full trailer whenever it drops. It's like next week, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm happy they chose this movie to show the Dune trailer, and not just like an event on TV or YouTube or an online event.
It's worth watching in the theater if to see this little teaser.
We got the blue glowing eyes. We got the people in the dunes, like Kevin said, and no sandworm.
No worms.
No worms. Nothing. And the other one that interested me was Death on the Nile. So that
was cool.
Yeah. that that one was really cool. I miss. Okay, so I'm not gonna get too much into this, but my theater experience going back into movie theaters and since February. It's been weird.
What was the last movie you saw before everything locked down?
Before everything locked down, holy shit! I should have brought my movie tickets, dude. I don't know if it was Detective Pikachu. No, that was last year, right?
Yeah.
Okay, what was this year?
Sonic?
It might have been Parasite. Oh, Sonic. It was between Sonic and Parasite before the Oscars.
Oh, because they re-released Parasite. I should have seen that re-release because I still haven't seen Parasite. But my last movie theater experience... And by the way, we did see this in Dolby because Georgia and whoever markets the movie theaters in Georgia in their infinite wisdom decided to make it only one legit IMAX theater in Georgia, and it's far the hell away from me, definitely, and it's a little further out from him, and it's at a chain that we don't really go to, because all the other IMAX theaters here are just the fake bullshit IMAX. So we saw this in Dolby, which is probably the next best thing without, selling yourself short on a falsely advertised experience, if I could say that, but, my last movie before lockdown, and I'm so happy it was because I had a blast watching it, was with a good friend of mine, and we both watched Sonic in Dolby, and that was a lot of fucking fun. But yeah, it was nice being in the theater, and surprisingly, I mean, it's probably not going to translate good to box office for like health wise and all that stuff. It's like it was nicely sparsely populated theater. I mean, granted, we saw it on a Thursday afternoon, but it was nice because we were nicely social distanced, and
we had our choice of seats. Even though we chose seats online, we pretty much could have sat anywhere because
our row was like only like 3 pairs of people on our row,
correct.
And so we were like smack dab in the middle.
30% full. They only let 30% full. You have to wear your mask unless you're eating or have a snack or whatever. Mm-hmm. That is the only time you're allowed to take it off. But there is also not a person checking to see if you have your mask on or not. I'm just saying that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. There's just nobody checking.
That and they were kind of anal about specifically what kind of mask they had on. That was kind of a problem when I came in.
Oh yeah, you have to have like a mask.
Like an actual medical thing. Because I had a neck gaiter type one, and they that didn't fly, which is like, it's some form of face covering, so I mean it's...
So yeah, if you don't mind going back to the movie theater, I've been watching for the last 4 months, streaming, Netflix, Disney Plus, everything. It's nice. It was nice being at home, but there's nothing like that movie theater experience. You get the popcorn ready.
They couldn't release this on streaming, and I'm so happy that Nolan was very adamant in making sure this got a theatrical release. And I'm happy that Black Widow is going to get a theatrical release because we saw a trailer for that.
Oh, we got a Black Widow theatrical trailer.
An actual trailer, and it looked badass. And so I'm happy that they're not getting that away from the character of Black Widow. That she's still her being the first female Avenger since Iron Man 2 back in 2010. She finally gets her theatrical movie. Though they should have released that right before Endgame instead of Captain Marvel, but it was great being back in the theater. It was nice, and it's kind of far from me, but it's a good theater experience. But back to Tenet and the technical aspects. We've all heard the stories about the sound mixing, and it's true.
Yeah.
For a good chunk of the movie, we couldn't hear shit. Now I don't know if Gary Rizzo is because it's kind of like a point of shame and it's more shame than pride that I went to Full Sail. But he's he's a popular full alumni from my school. That's an Academy Award winning sound designer. I think he got it for Dark Knight and Inception and all that.
Yeah.
So he's a go-to. Now I'm not sure if he did the mix or just the sound design, but I really couldn't hear shit for a lot of the dialogue. That's another reason why we're probably going to go see this movie again on our own time. It's the fact that I really could not hear. I couldn't make out the dialogue. The sound effects and action sequences are fucking awesome. I've never heard intense gunshots and stuff like this. Granted, it has been a while since I've been to a movie theater and see a movie in Dolby, but the oomph and the heavy hitting gunshots sounded very. I haven't heard such intense gunfire since Heat.
Since he, oh, okay.
Since Heat.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say, adding to Kevin's point, yes, the rumors were true, like he said. It's kind of hard to hear the dialogue, especially when there's action going on, when there are things going on that at the same time as they're talking or they're talking too softly. Usually the score or the music is louder than the voice, which is not typical for any movie. The gunshots. That's correct. Those are the best gunshots I've ever heard. I saw 1917 with Kevin at the same theater.
That was intense.
Yeah.
We fucking loved that one.
But these gunshots were louder. Am I not?
It's some of the set piece gets really, really big. The movie hits the ground running when it comes to that shit. Like the opening was pretty fucking awesome.
That opening was fucking great. And before we get into spoilers, guys, I really appreciated everything the way it was shot. I'm still really fucking curious about how they shot the scenes, especially the main scenes, the main action sequences that had to do with the whole Tenet situation.
And even if the script was audible, it was kind of my gripe about this movie. At least the first half, it starts to kind of make sense closer to like the latter part of the second act and into the third act. But even then, you're still trying to fit the pieces of the puzzle together. But the shit's moving so quickly that you don't have it doesn't lay things out. I mean, compared to Inception was way straightforward, and people were even making jokes about that, even though like at the time, 10 years ago when Inception came out, people were like, a little bit of the audience had a tough time getting it, but it was kind of straightforward for some other people, for most audiences. This one is like it's even more confusing. So like, watching Inception was a walk in the park compared to this.
Yes.
So
that's a good comparison.
But and I think the dialogue it moves so greatly and stuff. You really the pacing doesn't really establish itself too well. So I think the gripes about this one is about the same as I had about the 2006 Michael Mann Miami Vice with Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell, because that one is just like rapid fire with all the cop, the undercover drug cop, the lingo and dialogue and stuff. It gets heavy with doesn't get heavy with the jargon, but it is like it establishes new concepts really quickly, and it's kind of like hard to make out what's going on, and the movie just goes A friend of mine did exposition set piece, action, and that's like a kind of has a kind of rhythm to it. But
I remember. I'm gonna compare this to Avengers Endgame. They're like, oh, if you go pee, you're gonna miss a very important chunk.
Thank goodness I didn't have to pee, because I got myself a large popcorn and and a soda, and this was.
I got myself a rum and coke, so I went to pee, and I just missed some important shit because.
Oh yeah.
The way Kevin said it, this movie is just so rapid fire with everything that's going on. They're moving on to the next the next scene. What's next? What's going on? Everything's like feels like they don't fucking sleep in this movie. It's very very fast paced.
Some of the scenes they do.
I know, but the way they shot it, dude, it was physically asleep in it.
The way they edited.
The way it's edited, the way it's cut.
Edited.
I don't know. I love the score. The score was fucking sick.
The music was awesome. Let me look it up here.
Okay, while he looks it up, I'm just gonna give some more thoughts. Robert Pattinson was fucking great. I can't wait to see him as Batman.
Best of luck to him, because the news just broke right before we got into the theater that they had to shut down the production again for Batman after it just started because somebody got the. He got it. Nobody knows how they got it.
He got
Ludwig Göransson, man, that guy is doing everything.
Yeah.
Because Ludwig Göransson did Mandalorian, he did the Creed movies, he did Black Panther, what all fucking movies he did.
Yeah. So Robert Pattinson, we wish you the best of luck. In your recovery. Yeah. Yeah, and he was fucking great. There's a little thing about him that Kevin pointed out that I had not noticed, but we're gonna get that when we get into spoilers. But just his acting in this movie was great. I also know that after the movie was over, Christopher Nolan gave him some advice on Batman, some Batman advice.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan gave him some Batman advice. I'm not sure what he told him. But...
Bale probably gave him the same advice he gave Ben Affleck, is to make sure he's able to go take a shit or piss in the bat suit without help. And for the most part, just told everybody to, told them to don't listen to the naysayers, because everybody gave Heath Ledger shit when they casted him as Joker, and he turned out to be one of the greatest performances in cinema.
Correct.
Won
an Oscar.
After watching the teaser, which hopefully you've check out the channel, we have a reaction. I mean, we have absolute trust in Pattinson's performance or ability to portray the character.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
So
he's way past the Twilight guy. He's not the Twilight guy anymore. He's people that
he was pretty badass in this movie. He was fucking cool.
It was fucking cool. Dude, he had me going. Like, I don't know if he was gonna turn bad, good. He had me fucking going in this movie. I couldn't read him.
He's a very likable character in this movie too.
I couldn't read him. I was just like, this fucking guy. Some things are very predictable. Like, he's gonna be bad. He's gonna be bad. I couldn't read Robert Pattinson. The way he was acting was fucking great. Okay, so John David Washington. Fuck.
He was good. Oh, you're talking about the actor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. Washington was great.
Washington was fucking great, dude. He said, and yes, he was the protagonist.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's right. They didn't. Yeah, he's billed on Google as the protagonist.
So he's the protagonist, and in this movie, he says, "I'm the protagonist of this story."
Well, is that spoiler?
I want to get into some spoilers.
Yeah, so we're gonna get into some spoiler territory. So we're either, depending on how this dude edits, you're gonna see a timestamp to where we're gonna be done talking about spoilers, or and in conjunction with a spoiler warning. By the way, this is our first movie review.
Yes, our first ever movie review. So bear with us. I am just figuring out this channel.
Thoughts and stuff.
Thoughts, channel, how we're gonna do it, where we're gonna shoot it. So we just want to get some fresh thoughts. We might do another one of these for TENET. But these are like our fresh thoughts. We just came out of the movie theater about 10 minutes ago. So we really...
Yeah, we just ended at half an hour ago.
Yeah, so we really, really want to get some, just our thoughts and talk about what we saw in the movie, how we saw it. And I missed a lot of things. Like, my eyes were watching, but my brain wasn't comprehending. So let's just start with the opening scene. It was fucking badass.
So they did pretty much an homage to the Moscow theater hostage situation, where they tried to Spetsnaz pumped in gas and actually accidentally killed the hostage takers and the hostages. Same scenario. They started pumping gas, which I didn't realize that was a standard procedure for them.
Yeah,
this must have been an homage. I almost thought it was going to do some sort of time travel shit, because they didn't establish it was going to be in Ukraine, but. The movie hits the ground running with that opening sequence at the Opera House. It's fucking holy shit, the shooting and the way it was shot.
No, and the conductor's getting ready and boom, shot. Like,
fucking hot. The goons start taking over the place. But even then, right off the bat, we don't there was a passphrases and stuff. It was the CIA mode, and we saw a particular figure with a dangling little keychain off his backpack rescue the protagonist.
And that's the first time we see any of the inversion technology, as you will call it, being used. But he didn't notice what was happening at the time. He just know he got his ass saved. He said, "I don't care if I don't know him. I'll take the help." That's what he said when he got saved. And we see the inversion bullet. And we see a little keychain, like Kevin said. And dude, that scene was fucking so fast paced, so crazy.
And everybody's got gas masks on, so not only is it's hard enough to hear them talk, it's so quiet in the mix. So we get that part, and the fucking part during the interrogation when he takes the suicide capsule on the train tracks. I couldn't hear a goddamn thing.
I couldn't hear a goddamn thing
over the sound of all the trains passing by.
I feel like that's what it would sound like for real in real life. If they're
going for realism, yeah, but. Come on, man! I know how they mix these movies. They have they mix it inside of an empty theater. They probably do it with Dolby or some Dolby Atmos. So they mix it, they upmix it for the best possible quality, and then afterwards they kind of downgrade it and adjust the mix to certain types of speakers presentation. But they do I guess they master it in the theater, because that's the highest fidelity sound you're gonna get.
Yeah, but we couldn't hear shit.
Yeah, I can hear a goddamn thing.
No dialogue. It was hard to keep up.
The scene when he's explained the pass, and the whole thing about the passphrase "Tenet." It's that was barely in the movie,
that was barely in it. It's just what we understand from Tenet is that it's a technology from the future that they can bring things that have been inverted into the past. It's pretty much the way.
One takeaway from this movie is that I can get to figure out is that Christopher Nolan has a real knack for being able to take big concepts but ground it into such a reality that you wouldn't think to do that. Because if you think of the idea of like some bad guy with controlling shit that has control like time inversion and shit, you think just big grand scheme like like fucking Time Cop,
Yeah.
That kind of a big sci-fi element. No, but he brings it down to the level of like a spy thriller,
right,
or a heist movie almost. Because
it's pretty much a fucking heist movie, but with a fucking amazing concept. I'm gonna say this was ambitious.
Yeah,
not in a bad way. It was just fucking ambitious.
That's what I'm really curious to see about a really candid behind the scenes shit or commentary from the actors. Because I wonder how the fuck did the actors know what they were doing. With like how well did Nolan direct them to figure out like
okay, these people are going backwards, so you're noticing
like they must have a million questions just reading the script, because the script can be really sparse with details.
I am pretty sure that script was full of rewrites, full of notes, full of shit.
Yeah, a little footnotes and side notes.
Footnotes and side notes. Because what Kevin just said, I was wondering as well what was going through the actor's mind while they were doing these scenes, because there's some scenes that have the inversion while they're going forward, while they're going straight. There's some scenes that there's cars or things going, inverted before they do it. Fuck, dude. It was still hard to comprehend till the end. Till the end, I kind of finally got what the fuck was going on.
Okay, it's definitely fucking, god damn it, spoiler note, but I'm kind of digging that I guessed correctly when they were trying to save her. And they're on the boat trying to figure out how I don't even know what the fuck they were trying to do, but what they were discussing. But at that point, I figured out that. Before they mentioned it, it's like the guys in the black gear that they were fighting with the gas mask inside that art vault. Mm-hmm. That was them going back, so they were fighting themselves. Guess wrong about the guy getting sucked into the engine, in which I guess the way they shot that, they assumed. Off camera, it's like, oh, the guy got sucked, whatever the goon that was, got sucked into the engine. And so I was scared. It's like, wait, is Robert Pattinson going to be the one that gets sucked into the engine?
Oh, yeah.
That's the way we died. Like, he was such a good character. Thank goodness that's not what happened.
Kevin Lee Dover was like, Robert Pattinson might be the one that gets sucked into the engine. I'm like, what? And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, it could happen. It could be him. That whole scene.
That was cool, the way they tied it back.
And Nolan, the master of practical effects, the
entire plane crash, holy fuck, that was cool. I want to know what all was real about it, because that was really ambitious.
Was it just an old hangar that they were like, we need to get rid of it anyway, let's just blow it up? Like they did this for 007 Casino Royale.
Yeah, the Miami.
Well, not the one in Italy, in Venice. They needed to get rid of a building, and the director was just like,
same movie, because in the beginning movie he tracks down they're supposed to fuck up the launch of that airplane, the launch of the new reveal to fuck with the stocks, and then he blew it. So that's.
So I feel like Nolan found something that needed to be torn down, or they were not using.
Yeah, this movie is a gritty, modern Daniel Craig Bond style movie, but with a little bit of time travel to it.
Yeah, with a time travel concept.
Yeah, a little bit of
time travel concept. So while they're inverted, what I understood is that they're going back in time, but they know they're going back in time. They're
traveling forward, but in the bubble of like going backward in time. So they're breathing in air that's also traveling backward in time. So they can't breathe.
They can't breathe regular air. Yeah,
that was a cool concept. Like,
thank you. Yeah, at least they didn't leave any loose ends. So we were like, then how the fuck are they breathing?
Well, just even moving and like car handling and shit like that, because you're going backwards. It's like everything's reversed. So the fact that the heat transfer goes up, it's fucking weird.
I feel like Christopher Nolan paid so many attention to detail. Like there's a scene where they're driving and like the fucking like window cracks. because it's something that hasn't happened yet.
When they get into the Beamer on the highway action scene, the first go around, it's like I saw the fucked up window. I was like, wait, are they gonna?
Yeah.
Was that shot with an inverted bullet? And
Dude.
Yeah, and then I accurately guessed that she was the lady that dived off the boat, which wasn't really a hard
Kevin
guess.
leaned over. Is like, she's the lady that jumped off the boat. Not his lover. That's the same lady.
And then my theory about the end, when they're talking about when Robert Pattinson's talking to the protagonist about like this is the end of this part of the friendship. Now it's like when it's a start from like years from now for you, way along for me.
Yeah.
And earlier it paid off because earlier in the movie in that same sequence when they're on the boat, because he accurately guessed the date.
Yes.
On the boat in Vietnam because she didn't remember. It's like, is that his? It's either the Russian dude's younger self, or he's their son. He's stuck in a time dilation that he goes for, like the inversion.
I think that's her son.
Yeah. Because he must have at one point growing up figured out that was. You'll see the movie. If for those of you still watching the spoiler section, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm pretty sure that
I know we sound confusing, but trust me, when you guys watch this, you guys are gonna try to make sense of what we're saying.
Yeah.
So I think that Robert Pattinson is the son of
the bad guy.
No, yeah, the bad guy and
the lady.
And the lady. Let's just leave it at that, because when Kevin said that, like, that should make so much sense, because he says Washington says, you've known me.
It's like for years.
Yeah,
that's why he knew how to get a Diet Coke instead of a fucking soda water.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Cool. I like that. And so in the end, the person pulling the strings was the protagonist all along. He said, "You're working for me."
Yeah, it's.
I'm working for. He said, "I'm working for me." He said, "You're working for me, and I'm working for me."
I guess because it's the grandfather paradox.
Mm-hmm.
I guess he had to go back and rescue him at the opera house to make sure that he still lives, so that he can go through time and continue the loop.
Yeah, the part that blew my fucking mind. There was two parts. One, when the bad guy is about to shoot. Well, he did shoot her, and then. Yeah,
that interrogation room where it recorded his audio and it played it back forward. It was like. That was fucking with my head. Like, what the fuck is
I had to lean forward, like, literally concentrate. I was like, what? So yeah, the other guy was in the inversion world, and he was the protagonist.
You have to divide it by the wall because you go through that little safe vault looking thing.
That's the thing that inverts them.
How the hell did they? I thought it was like a secret. Is it a secret society of tack dudes who all know the time travel shit? Because that last action sequence where they go to Siberia.
Yes.
That was fucking cool.
Oh my god.
And that's the kind of shit. I guess I could say that's the kind of shit I wish we did on Suicide Squad. Because watching all those soldier extras in this scene.
Yeah.
Was oh my god.
Yeah.
My god, that was so cool.
So Kevin leans over to me. It's like, I wish I could have been an extra in that movie. I'm like, I know, fuck.
Yeah, oh my god, that would have been so
But, okay, so, obviously, this is gonna sound fucking stupid, but obviously, as the main soldiers are going forward, we see the other soldiers going backwards.
The blue team and red team, yeah.
Yeah, so that's fucking with my mind, how the master, or the, of practical effects, got those
how much, like, planning and blocking did they have to do to synchronize at the same time in camera, people like acting as if they're going forward but backward, and people just doing it regularly.
Right. And the explosions also, as they're going forward, there are explosions going back in. Either great choreography, great blocking, great timing. I don't know.
Who's the fucking stunt coordinator on that movie?
Dude.
Because how did he choreograph the fight with him and himself in that art gallery? Because like the way that was.
And I'm guessing they shot the explosions first, then they added them in. They keyed them into the shot.
But just to do the fight scene where the guy has to act like he's backwards.
Yeah. So the scene where he fights himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he fights himself and he's trying to fight forward, and the other guy's fighting backwards. The bullets are going back into his gun and shit. Like, that's some crazy shit.
Yeah, honestly, here's a fucking comparison I wanted to make. I thought it was gonna be like Wanted. where they do the
Ah.
bullet bending and all that shit. Like, I would have figured it would be that kind of zany shit, but with these goons. But it still remained grounded. But they never really explained, like, how the hell do all these, like, mercenary guys and stuff like that also know, like, how deep does it go for them to...
Yeah.
How that white guy in the beginning that recruited him, like, how the...
That wasn't explained at all.
Yeah.
They just knew, and they just told him, okay, so you can't breathe regular air, you're going to be inverted.
I think because after the feedback from the release of the opening sequence for The Dark Knight Rises, they remixed Bane's voice because people complained on the original mix during that teaser thing for I forgot what movie it was, but they they showed like the 10-minute scene in IMAX for IMAX showings for another big movie that came out the year before, right? That they remixed it so that he's louder in the mix, and they had to kind of ease up on his accent, or whatever the weird voice that Tom Hardy was doing for Bane. I'm wondering if Warner Brothers and Syncope and all that are going to pay the extra money, even though they're not going to make much off of box office revenue, because not everybody's still going to be going to because of COVID and all that stuff. But I wonder if they're going to remix the movie or re-release it. It's probably, you know what? They're probably going to do it with subtitles.
Oh.
They're probably going to release it because all these movies are going to be shown digitally for the most part. Because I can't think of any theaters these days that are still using film projection and stuff, because that's really expensive to maintain a good print. But I wonder if they're going to patch the movie like they patched Cats, because they had some fucked up visual effects. I wonder if they're going to do like a week 2 patch to have it with subtitles so that people because I think that's going to be a lot cheaper than remixing the movie with improving the dialogue in the mix.
That's going to be expensive. I'm just going to say
I think they're probably just going to do subtitles next week, because they did the Monday preview, and then this is going to be the full release.
But what blows my mind is that they approve this movie. They go through this movie, and they watch it, and they approve it.
For distribution.
But maybe Christopher Nolan knew what the fuck was going on. So maybe
it already had a European release. You would think that by the time it released here, they would have had enough complaints out in Europe and London that they would have released it with subtitles.
Well,
here,
that's very true. But maybe they understood Robert Pattinson better in the English.
But it's not that. I just couldn't hear a fucking thing in the beginning.
I couldn't hear a
thing where the Russian guy was pulling his teeth out and at the train yard.
Yeah.
Like, I really could not make out everything.
Subtitles would have been great, easier to follow. To be honest,
Warner Brothers Syncope. I know you guys are probably going to do it anyway for the home release of the movie or for the streaming release of it. So just get a copy of the movie with subtitles in the theater to make up for the weird mix for the dialogue.
Yeah.
Because it would definitely make it a whole lot easier for people to follow the story, especially for second viewings. Because it was really fucking hard.
It was hard to make out. I would lean over to Kevin and be like, "What was going on? What did you say?" And Kevin was like, "I don't know," because some shit was very hard to make out, and they were trying to explain as they went along.
They were coming up with plans without saying that here's the plan. They just say that they just kind of almost like predict the future, and it's like, people really don't fucking talk like that. Like, there's even sharp people figure out the plan.
They were like, they're gonna be here this moment. We have to get to this tunnel, and I'm like, why? Why do you have to get to that tunnel for? Like,
it's like we don't know each other. You met me, blah 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 blah. It's like, wait. It's like,
what?
It would can't be fucking stupid, but I would have to be like, wait, what are you talking about? Like this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would.
I'd be like, okay, what the fuck are you talking about? Just Tenet? Just what the fuck?
Some of the fights, the hand-to-hand fight scenes are fucking cool. The one in the kitchen was badass.
Oh, that was dope.
That fucking cheese grater.
Oh, the cheese grater to the face.
Ow. Oh my god.
We were like, oh shit. Yeah, the hand-to-hand combat was cool. The shooting was cool. The running through fucking bombs and not knowing what exploded and what didn't explode. Like, there's a part where Washington, like, he's on this block of concrete that's going back up because it exploded. He jumped off of it right on time before it took him against the wall.
Yeah, exactly. That's fucking cool.
And there's like a soldier that gets stuck in the wall that had exploded, but it went back in. And they got stuck with the explosion. So, shit like that. Like, I don't know how Christopher Nolan minds work, he's already thinking of this shit. I did like the attention to detail, all this shit that they did. Yeah, I like what Kevin said. Subtitles would be nice.
Yeah.
I'm digging the. This is not a spoiler, but the new Warner Brothers logo. I'm digging it.
Yeah, the new Warner Brothers logo is really streamlined, very modernized.
Yeah, and this movie just made me a little bit more excited for. I know it's not a spoiler, but for Batman with Ryan Panson.
Yeah.
But oh man, dude, to comprehend this movie, to fully comprehend it, I'm gonna have to watch it a couple more times, even if it's not in the movie theater. But I got that first experience that I wanted to see. I got that
we
first.
We had the theatrical real, and
yes.
Honestly, depending on what your local area's restrictions are and stuff, we booked our tickets beforehand.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
If you're gonna go see the movie, look closely at your local theaters policies and stuff about, especially what kind of masks, because you might get charged extra. The lady was nice enough just to give me this for free, so thank you.
Yeah.
And I still have benefits from my memberships, like parts of it's still active. Hopefully it gets active again soon, because I haven't been doing crap when I'm not working. I would like to go back to the theater and use the perks of that to rewatch old movies and stuff, which I don't know if they're still going to do. They're probably going to have do full theaters, like all auditoriums in use.
Yeah.
But just do just a very light new release schedule, and everything else is a classic and stuff. Because I definitely would like to go back to watch Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Well,
and if I could.
And I'm gonna put a call out there, guys. If anybody has watched this and you worked on Tenet as an extra, as in anything,
yes, reach out to us.
Please reach
that
out
would be
to
a
us.
great idea to try to branch out outside of the Atlanta area. But especially if you're one of the guys with the working the third act of Tenet, dude, please put it out. Yeah, man.
Get to us. We would love to do a Zoom call with you. Tell us your experience. The movie's out, so you can talk to us about your experience, how the choreography was. If you worked on this movie, we would love to hear from you. We would love to interview you and put you on the channel.
Go international, because I'm pretty sure everything was filmed overseas.
Oh yeah. So, this is gonna have to go international.
Because. God damn, I'm so jealous of all these soldiers and mercenaries and stuff. I got to work that last scene.
We would have loved to be in some shit like that. I would have ran backwards. I don't give a fuck. I would have ran backwards with my gun, pretending to do everything. But holy shit.
This will go off the record, because I don't want to put it out there that I have all this gear and stuff. But as soon as I get home, I am going to fuck with my rifle. And this movie's got me inspired. That one reload, because he was running and stuff, and he had the fast mag pouch. Because one of my friends is teaching me more modern shit and stuff, and I'm getting into the shooting stuff. But I'm thinking you gotta have a battle belt.
Yeah.
Because a battle belt, you always have a good mag ready to go on the hip, so when you run the thing, you don't have to reach up to pull out. It's easier to get it to kind of lean over, get off the hip, and pop it in, and you're good to go. You don't have to retain, because it's whatever.
Yeah.
That's one thing. It's I probably not, but I probably would have been less clumsy with the reload, and that's not a dog on you. That's just you.
Who
was doing the reload? Was it Washington? That's not a dog on you, man. They didn't give you the gear to proper battle belt for your first line.
There's a scene I want to talk about really quick, and it gave me Dark Knight vibes when they were on the highway. Fucking
You reminded me of the fucking Matrix.
The Matrix.
The Matrix Reloaded.
The twins.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. That's what it reminded me of more. A little bit of the Dark Knight when they're on the highway.
Oh, climbing into the truck and.
So, it was a scene where for people who have watched this, when they're passing the device or whatever it was.
Yeah, that case across from the car in the middle. That was trippy. But when the car crashed and it played it backwards and stuff, that reminded me of whenever the agent, the one agent had to jump off the other car to land on their car. And
if I have things right, this that case was inverted, right? That's the reason why he could pass it across so quickly without it falling, because he did like this, Do you remember the way he bounced it off the car into the guy's arms?
Yeah.
I'm guessing it was inverted, so he did the motion like if he had thrown it himself. Because remember, the scientist lady said, the bullet won't move if you don't do anything. Yeah.
I gotta watch it again, man.
Okay.
However,
Yeah.
because now I can watch back to Jeremy John's review because he's the only one that I really rely on. But shout out to Jeremy. He's kind of well, I don't know if he inspired you, but
Oh, I see Jeremy Johnson. Also, shout out to Lights Camera Barstool. I listen to him a lot. I love the.
but Jeremy, I saw his rating for this movie, and I skipped forward to that just to see what it was, and I was surprised to see what it was, and I can understand why he gave it that kind of rating. It was A Good Time with No Alcohol Required.
Oh, okay.
I get that. I probably rated a little. I don't know.
Okay,
I'm not a professional critic like he is, or I'm not.
Yeah, we're not professional critics. We just watch movies.
I want to give my thoughts about it, but I can't get. I'm not at the point where I can give a ranking, but I can say that I can understand why he gave it that ranking.
Okay, if you had to choose right now, just of your initial first view, from 1 to 100, just from your
80s,
Yeah.
70s.
I'll give it in the 80s.
If we have to judge it based on what is like in the American schooling system of 70s is kind of like mediocre, and then 90s is like really good, and then everything else is like a fail, which would probably sound really fucked up.
I give it like an 83, 84, just because the directing, the
cool.
acting.
It's a cool concept, but the execution and honestly, just the biggest problem in the movie was just the pacing. And the flow of the dialogue was a little too quick. That it doesn't establish his character's chemistries. It was just a little too quick. Especially Michael Caine's scene was just like out of nowhere, and it ends just as quickly as it began.
Yeah, there's no character arc really for anyone. They're just kind of already.
It's all plot, no story.
Yes.
All plot, no story, and I think that's what will lack. Now we're getting to the really academic things. Thanks for bringing this up, because the movie probably won't resonate as deep as probably Inception, because Inception has the emotional backbone of Dom Cobb wanting to go back and doing everything he can because he wants to see his kids. That's the main point.
Children, right?
He wants to be able to say. That's why he did want to incept Cillian Murphy's character and work with Saito to do it, and then that's why he brought him out of Inception, out of out of limbo with him when they got stuck there, and he's dealing with the inner demons of his blaming himself for his wife's death because she lost her mind and this whole suicide arc and all that stuff, and he literally had to kind of just get her out of his head, and that's that kind of resonate with some people and stuff. That's you can probably interpret the movie as like trying to do a certain type of trauma.
Oh yeah.
In your dreams.
And you know his motives for doing what he's doing.
His motives are really clear in that movie. Yeah. Again, that's why I said that movie's a walk in the fucking park compared to this one.
Yeah. If you thought Inception, and I'm not gonna get too much into what Kevin's saying, just if you thought Inception was hard to follow, this one's a little bit harder to follow.
Yeah, and so the lack of emotional backbone really is probably going to hold this movie back in terms of
the only person that had a motive for anything was the bad guy. He was the only person that had a real.
And even then they probably could have played up, because if my theory is correct and that Robert Pattinson is their son, then it serves to be that he probably has the biggest emotional backbone throughout the entire movie. By the time at the end you figured out that he does everything to maintain the friendship between him and the protagonist.
Yeah.
But because the whole grandfather paradox and stuff. So I think that's probably what's gonna kind of not stick this movie out as like in a good emotion. And there's some movies that it's all plot and no real story, like Fury Road is like probably the best example of.
That's all plot, no story.
But it works great. Like you can almost watch it like a silent film.
Yeah.
Or just in black and white. It's so bare bones, but it's
so like well told.
But this movie is like so ambitious that you get lost in the technical expositional details.
Correct.
That you're not able to really, really like get emotionally invested with the characters, and I think that's probably why this movie, as a technological spectacle and it's a movie going experience, it's fucking cool and it's a trip to watch. But it's probably not going to stick with you long term like some of the other Christopher Nolan movies.
Yeah, I feel correct. To add to Kevin's point, because he pretty much said everything I was thinking. It feels like you're watching a mission go down. You don't know anything about these characters. You're just seeing the mission go down. Going from mission to mission. You don't see any motivation, any motives for any of these characters except the bad guy, like we said, and his wife.
Yeah.
And his wife.
even then, like, they didn't really explain his hold over her and all that stuff. It was all like it was fucking weirdly metaphorical. Again, that's another scene. That dinner scene before the kitchen fight scene was just. They really need to subtitle it or just mix it better, because it's like I can really. It was just going so quickly I couldn't figure out what the hell they were talking about. I don't know. Maybe we're idiots, and
maybe we just didn't fucking get it. But
shit, I lost my.
Shout out that they gave fuck, I forget his name. I'm super bad with names. Michael
Caine.
Yeah.
Because it's an Nolan movie, so you gotta
have Michael Caine. Yeah.
And
then the Tenet guy, the guy that says, "I have a word for you, Tenet," and we never see him fucking again. That one scene on the boat, Tenet. It'll open some doors, and it'll open some bad ones. That's the only time.
Yeah, like who like. So there was not enough setup, and really just like the guy was just on a mission. He had no personal stake in it besides saving the whole fucking world. But that's just like, I guess. And the intelligence, and spy community, I guess that's all. It's only just the mission, and that's it. It's nothing, never really personal.
Yeah.
But
I wish they would have gone back to that opera house scene.
Yeah, because I'm wondering how the fuck did Robert Pattinson get through there?
But maybe he's the one that always saves him. Maybe he's the one that he knows what was gonna happen. They've been friends for years, according to Robert Pattinson. But yeah, the opera house scene that the orchestra was playing, that scene was fucking cool. I wish they would have gone even that far back. So they didn't specify how long the whole Tenet thing lasts. They didn't specify that at all. I don't know if they could just keep going backwards. So one thing that they did say was they could make bad things happen in the past. They could literally blow a nuke in the fucking 70s, 80s if they just keep going back in the past. They can change timelines, literally. So I thought.
The movie didn't really tie back to that fucking concept. They briefly explained why everything the fate of everything is tied to the Russian guy, and it's like really rapid fire.
What the fuck was that thing, that machine?
Dude,
that fucking Rubik's cube fucking
the
whole thing just
that looks like a gearbox from a car, like a transmission, you know what I mean?
It looks like a fucking muffler. Like what the?
It looks literally like a broken down transmission inside the gear.
Was that a bomb?
Dude,
remember he said he's gonna kill everybody because he's dying of cancer. Was that the bomb?
That's another part of the thing I couldn't follow.
He was a plutonium dealer. He was
an arms dealer. Yeah,
he was an arms dealer and plutonium dealer.
The CIA is like 2/3 of the
Nolan,
people.
help us. Nolan, just talk to us. Just
as a technical achievement, this movie's fucking. It's Nolan never fails to disappoint.
Yeah, just the volume a little bit more up. That's
the sound mix, man. You gotta fucking fix the sound.
Yeah,
mix. But the pacing. But just honestly, I think that's what. Personally speaking, I think that's what this movie was missing. Was in the script was not enough of an emotional backbone to really get you invested in the story. And now I think that's why. Because as a kid, back when I used to be active in trying to come up with concepts of movies and stuff, and I kind of had that understanding. But then when I got too heavy into the action and all that stuff, you need an emotional backbone, and that's part of the reason why a lot of people would say that John Wick 1 is like the best of the trilogy, because
of course
the emotional investment in that, because that one he's just trying to get the other two there, he's just trying to get out and something keeps pulling back in. But the first one is like the purest story in the fact that he's a guy in mourning, and then he gets the last thing they could get him out done, so they killed his soul, and so he just wreaks havoc on everything for some sort of an emotional catharsis, or just for like a sense of righteousness sprinkled amongst that. It's some fucking amazing iconic set pieces, and I think that's what cements that's what further embeds good action in our hearts. Some movies are able to do just plot and action with no real story and emotional through line. This unfortunately is not one of them. However, don't let this take away from the fact that, for my recommendation, that you should see this movie in theaters to support theaters, because you don't.
You have to support theater, guys.
Yeah,
You know,
honestly, like people say, like, well, it's been years since I've been to the movie theaters. Yeah, that's fine, but just come on, dude. There's certain things that are meant to be exposed to be experienced in a big theater with
theaters,
good,
yeah.
you know.
And they don't make that much money off of movie ticket sales to begin with, guys. Their main money makers are drinks, concessions. We know that. They make very little from ticket sales.
Now, we're not. By the way, I'm not sponsored by AMC or anything like that, but I have a membership that's been in that's been suspended due to COVID because everything's been shut down. I think it's going to start back up soon. But what I do is that I go to a classic to get the $20 bucket, where every consecutive refill on visits to any AMC afterwards is only $5, and then I use the free drink upgrade, and then I accrue points by just using my 3 movie a week thing. Hopefully that doesn't go away, because that was like the main that I don't know how they still make money and how that's solvent, but that's when I signed up for that was like Movie Pass was on its dying legs.
Yeah, Movie Pass was dying. It was going down.
But when I signed up for that, since it's run by AMC, that has like the least, you know, it's less likely for it to flounder like Movie Pass did.
Oh, and Kevin brought his own tapatio. I'm just saying.
No, Valentina.
Valentina?
Yeah.
Damn.
Doing the Mexican thing since I've been doing since El Paso, man. If I can get a big bucket of popcorn and just pour some hot sauce all over it with some big soda.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to compare this movie to other Nolan movies, because this one is an individual movie. It's not tied. But when you tie it to a director, and you are going to compare to his other movies, because...
technically speaking...
Yeah.
The concept is, dude, I couldn't have fucking come up with something like this that consistent.
Yeah, ever since Memento, you know, like.
And again,
fucking...
somebody did a thesis at my school. It's probably a not common thing, but dude, Nolan is a master of time, because every movie that he does fucks with time in a certain way. Outside of the Dark Knight trilogy, because that's the most straightforward movies he's done. But outside of that, every movie has its quirk with time, and this one's probably the most creative execution of that concept, because you know, you got the black and white and the color sequences in Memento, going backwards and forwards, and then they cross each other, right? And then the Prestige, they kind of go back and forth. It's almost like a puzzle, and it's more random in that one. Yeah. And then with Dunkirk, you got like the 3 plot lines in the movies, but they're all interspersed with each other, but they take place across different moments of time, like the guy on the beach trying to get off, that's like over several days, whereas like the guy on the kid on the boat trying to sail across the English Channel to rescue them and stuff like that. That's right. That was you know, across several hours, you know. And then Tom Hardy in the warplane and stuff, that was like across like maybe an hour, but it's all intercut together. And this movie is straight up, they fuck with time itself. So again, this is just another. It's thematically, it's another thing. Time, in a way, is a character itself. You know, time. It's a plot tied in and of itself. Yeah. And Inception. How could I forget Inception with the layers of the dreams and stuff? That more time is fast. Time is slower. Every dream they go in. They kind of and again, Dunkirk was almost the same way, except in a more. In a more sort of narrative sense, rather than like actual science fiction sense, like in the you know. Yeah, dream levels. Yeah, and unfortunately, correct. He loves to fuck with time. He loves to, you know, make movies about time. But as Kevin said, this was. I think Dunkirk had the same problem too. Is that it didn't have an emotional it didn't have enough to. It was soldiers trying to get out. Trying to get the fuck out of there. It was pretty much it. So it was like, in terms of realistic depiction of the actual evacuation of Dunkirk, yeah, it's fucking awesome. Dunkirk had more emotion than this. I don't know, for some reason though, certain, and now I'm going off the tangent of other movies and stuff and examples of shit that's like plot but no story. Black Hawk Down is one of my favorite war movies of all time, and that was all plot and no real story, but the way Ridley Scott filmed it, you really felt an attachment to some of the characters and stuff, especially when some of them die off screen and stuff. Saving Private Ryan, really well done, because, you know, I fucking get choked up every time I see the scene with they're typing up the letters after Omaha. Oh yeah. And then they find out that his mom is going to get all 3 letters out at the same time, and they have to save the last one. And then when Giovanni Ribisi, the medic, is dying and he's literally crying out for his mom, like that fucked me up. Yeah, dude. And that's a really emotional movie. But that's probably part of the reason why that movie, among all the war movies and stuff, stands the test of time and is timeless now, because it has such a deep emotional backbone supports all these iconic, World War II set pieces.
Yeah.
And again, this is one movie that I think suffers.
Do you think it was
from
an
that.
open ending, the way he left it off? That Robert Pattinson knew him all along, he was working for himself, kind of like Nolan said this in an interview. He said,
For this movie?
Inception is an open ending. Inception is
It's less open ending of the fact that it's the reason why is because it doesn't set. There was most chemistry between him and Robert Pattinson. And you're like, yeah, that's disappointing, but it's just like it didn't really embed it emotionally to the audiences.
I would love to see what he becomes, what he does with this technology, learning what he knows now, and seeing his.
He's not the kind to do sequels, but
I know he's not the kind of do sequels except The Dark Knight, as we already know. But man, I would love to see a continuation to this. I want to see.
that would be cool.
Now that he knows how to use the technology, the TENET technology, and I want to see his relationship go forward with Robin Pattinson in the movie. I would love to see what he does with this. I know you're right. Christopher Nolan is not a guy to do sequels unless it's Batman, the superhero film.
And even that was, and that's probably mostly because that's not his story.
Right.
He was just doing an adaptation.
It wasn't his characters. It wasn't his story. He just did it in his own way, which we all loved. We don't have to get into that because it's been praised over and over, and I'll still praise it. But this movie, yeah, guys, watch it. Watch it. Fucking watch it. That's
if any movie is going to be the one to bring you back in the theaters, this is going to be it. And honestly, the theaters could use it. We could use it because that's... Man, I'd hate to see the movie business shift.
Dude,
in terms
fuck.
of
And there's
the
people
release.
that are like Netflix. Yeah, it's cool, but it's not the
It's
fucking same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same.
And I'm a sucker for good sound. That's why, technically speaking, aside from the mix of how the dialogue was mixed,
Oh yeah.
I fucking love a great sound effect.
Dude,
sound
and
mixing.
My seat was shaking.
Dude,
shaking.
each gunshot and each punch.
I was like, oh,
this
shit.
is Dolby Cinema, so that's
Yes.
I mean,
Exactly.
goes without saying, but
Yeah, and if you can, and if you have the resources, and if you're lucky enough or have
if
the
you're
time,
healthy.
watch IMAX.
Yeah, watch it in IMAX, real IMAX, not the bullshit fake IMAX, actual IMAX.
Yes, watch it in IMAX if you have the resources, if you have the time. I know it's more expensive.
Honestly, it's hard to describe, but you'll know it's real IMAX if you step in. You'll know it when you see it.
Yeah.
But if it's just like a regular sized theater, but just they get rid of these first front rows and they try to move the screen bigger to give the illusion that it's IMAX, that's not IMAX. IMAX is really fucking steep.
Yeah.
And the screen has got to be like 5 stories tall.
You have to go. You have to in real IMAX. You have to go to the second floor to sit down. You don't start from the bottom. You have to take some steps up.
For the most part, most IMAX theaters that I've been to is like that. You have to climb a shitload of stairs.
You have to get some stairs to get to the actual seats before, you sit down. It's not just.
There's like 2 floors of exits. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Most IMAX screens that I've been to are like that.
Yeah, guys, watch it. It's a fucking trip. It is
a
fucking
trip.
fun.
Again, it's
Yeah.
just have a really good ear for it. If
Have
you have
good-
auditory processing disorder, fucking my heart goes out to you. Do the best you can. But if you just want to see a spectacle of cool, just like
Yeah.
time manipulation and shit like that,
Time fighting. I'm gonna call it time
Time
fighting. Time fighting. Because that scene. I'm gonna go back to the scene where he's fighting himself and the bullets are going back in.
exactly,
And
yeah.
I would love to know who did that choreography, because him fighting like in forward regular time and the other guy fighting backwards. Fucking
And to make it seem really visceral and really in the moment and not rehearsed
right.
is
And it's not shaky cam. It's not.
it's not shaky cam. No,
It's not shaky cam, guys. So
How you know what though? This is one thing I noticed. Whether or not this movie will stick with you, it's subjective, I guess.
yeah.
It's gonna stick with me on a technical basis, and probably just as a sentimental thing, because it's gonna be the first time in 2020 that I've been back to the theater since all this shit started.
Yes.
Worth watching in the big screen, I gotta say, if you really just like to have a spectacle. Outside of that, unfortunately, there's not much of an emotional through line that that's in the movie that'll really make it stick with you, like Inception. The thing I was going to say before that I was going to mention too is that the way he shoots action sequences is vastly improved from his previous movies, and I think Dunkirk really highlighted how well he's able to shoot that.
Yeah.
And I think Inception did it, but I guess the choreography was just kind of like this little bit weird for the Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises. But this one, in terms of fighting, in terms of hand to hand, Nolan has stepped up his game in terms of either that or his stunt team. He got a really good stunt team on this one compared to the previous movies.
And he probably has the same stunt team for every movie.
But whoever the coordinator was. But the way it was shot, it was very, very, very well done. I think he stepped his game up in this one even more so than in previous movies. So
that's good. My final thoughts are fun movie, great to go back into it's a movie worth going back into theaters for. If you're feeling unsafe, just don't buy snacks, don't eat, just have your mask on the whole time. Unfortunately for me, if I were to rank it, because I'm not a professional movie critic, I'll put it in the low 80s, 82, 83. Unfortunately, it's one of the more forgettable Nolan movies. Inception is still quoted today. Inception still talked about today. The Batman trilogy he did. Memento. I mean, dude, this movie. That's why I mentioned the sequel thing, because
it's gonna be like Dunkirk.
I feel like
technically impressive, but doesn't really last.
Correct.
Long.
And even Dunkirk is more memorable than this movie, unfortunately. And that's okay. And I'm saying that it's like the bad one out of great movies. I'm not saying it's a bad movie. It's like picking, the least best.
Yeah, we're not saying it's going to be like it's part of the bargain bin type thing. I mean, it's a technical achievement. It really is if you're into that kind of thing when you're watching movies.
It was beautifully shot. I'm into
locations were great. Whoever the locations got for this movie was.
Oh yeah, really the locations were great. Whoever did the cinematography was great. Whoever did the camera movement angles. The camera operators, they were on their A game.
Was this movie shot entirely in IMAX?
I believe so. I believe it was.
Actual IMAX, not like digital IMAX?
No, he shoots in IMAX.
He shoots IMAX film.
He shoots in IMAX, yeah. And, okay, so there's this story I heard on the podcast, Lights, Camera, Barstool, where Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he talked to, because he did the Dark Knight Rises.
By the way, sorry, I feel like an asshole for forgetting fucking Interstellar. That's another movie that he fucks with time because it's relativity and time dilation on the time.
Because by the time he gets back to Earth, his daughter is older than him. But getting back to Joseph Gordon,
that movie, Interstellar, sticks with you because even to this day. You might want to cut this in the middle when we're trying to come up with examples of Nolan movies and stuff. Like Interstellar sticks with me because I fucking cry every time I see the scene where he catches up on the video mail that he missed because he was stuck on the water planet too long, and the scene when he leaves Earth because he leaves on a bad note with his daughter when they get into the fight.
Right.
With the music kind of swelling up, with the launch in the background when he looks in the passenger seat of the car. Like I get choked up and cry when shed a few tears here and there, and the rest of the movie might not stick, but just those moments, stick.
Yeah. And so
but I don't think emotionally this movie's not.
Yeah, getting back to that memorable. Maybe it'll be studied in film in classes in the future. The way it was shot, the way the whole time inversion thing worked.
It's technically speaking, like in terms of especially how much they did with in camera. It's going to get studied to see how and again, people don't make movies like that anymore. Like Nolan is one of the old school guys that do everything in camera and stuff.
And he does it with film. So the story I'm trying to say is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who worked on the Dark Knight Rises, he told on the podcast I listened to, Lights, Camera, Barstool, that Nolan carries around film in his wallet.
Really?
Yes. So if I find the clip, I'll put it in this podcast. So Joseph Gordon-Levitt said that he was there with somebody and he was talking to Christopher Nolan and they were talking about what's the difference between IMAX and regular. Nolan pulls out his wallet. He said, "This is regular. This is so and so.
Here's 16 mil. This is 35 mil.
And then he said, "This is IMAX." He pulls it out of his wallet like, "This is IMAX." And they were just like, And he's like, "You're carrying that with you?" He's like, "Yeah." It's like he you know how we're like phone wallet keys. He's like phone wallet keys, IMAX. Yeah, he just carries that in his.
It's probably like his own little personal viewfinder that he pulls out the film stock, and he gets like a single frame of IMAX and just kind of like
Yeah, he's a master of his craft. There's a rumor that he cuts his own movies. Literally cuts the film and puts it together. I don't know if that's true. It's a rumor.
That would it doesn't surprise. That wouldn't surprise me.
But I don't know. I'm not saying that it's official that he literally gets the film and cuts it and like they used to back in the day. But it wouldn't surprise me because he's a master of his craft. That's the way he learned. That's the way he shot. So, guys, those are our last thoughts on this movie. And thank you guys for watching this and sticking with us. If we have more thoughts, we'll put it on our Instagram as well. Don't forget to follow Kevin Montgomery. Where can they follow you at?
Monty. Let me make sure I don't fuck it up. You can follow my Instagram at Monty_117 on Instagram.
And you guys can follow me at JORG3101. And don't forget to follow Be an Extra Pod. And we're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Hopefully we can bring more content like this to you guys. More interviews coming up. I have a special surprise for my next interview. I'm going to put it in this in case he lets me talk about it. Guys, I am interviewing next week the stunt double, one of the stunt doubles, because he had many. One of the stunt doubles for Captain America and Captain America Civil War.
Because I forgot to mention, I don't know if I mentioned it on my interview of the podcast, it was Chris Brewster, because he was a stunt double for Captain America in all those movies, as well as Daredevil.
Ooh.
I met him on Zombieland because he was on one of the days he was Woody's stunt double, and it's like when I found out, I was like, "Oh, you did Daredevil? Holy fuck! That fucking prison fight in fucking season 3 was, oh my god!" Like, I geeked out like crazy when I was
All right, guys, thank you for watching.
See you later.
It's Kevin and Jorge signing out. Be healthy, save Robert Pattinson, get better. I hope you have a speedy recovery, man. We can't wait for you to go back on set to finish filming 75% of the movie. And, we'll catch you guys next for the next reaction.
See ya.